You and your sound effects. Hey guys, it's a little bit late, just a few minutes, but we are live now with the Phinsider draft coverage, Phinsider TV's NFL draft coverage for 2014. Like we did last year, we'll be here all the way through the rest of the first round. Obviously, Duke is with me. You see him down in the corner, but we'll be in and out, obviously, because I'll be posting, he'll be posting, we'll be jumping in and out. So it's not exactly like a normal show because it is a live show reacting to the draft. Currently, as we come live, the pick just went in, and here comes the commissioner for the first pick. The Houston Texans are going with...
And remember,
we'll find out in just a second.
Ahead of me, so...
Am I ahead of you again?
We'll check and see. I'm going to take the earphones off. Completely expected.
Yeah, I think we're about right. Yep, Clowney's the first pick, so nothing shocking there. That's absolutely the right pick for the Texans. I don't think that they had any way to do it otherwise. If they had taken a quarterback, you could understand it, but I think that in this draft, in this situation, Clowney is the best player, and he's the one they have to take.
Yeah, and now is when it's going to get really interesting because this is kind of expected. So we're gonna get to see now who everyone else takes. Is this pickup for sale?
Yeah.
What's going to happen here?
Okay. Sorry, I've got two computers going right now, and I'm trying to get the other one back up and running because it's not up yet.
I'm gonna see if I can get some better lighting. Hold on.
So, guys, so you know, I was running late today. That's the problem. I had a function I had to do just before this, and I knew it was going to come up right against it. I left a little bit early, but that's why the holdup in getting the show started live. But we are up and running now, so obviously we are here. We are ready to go. The Phinsider TV show is live after a couple minute delay. Come watch. I need the link. Dang it! Too many computers, not enough time.
Still not good. Oh well.
I need... Oh man, this is going to mess with me the rest of the night, isn't it? Working between an Apple on one and a Windows-based on another. Guys, I'm going to go ahead, and I've never done this because it's new, but... Oh, never mind. Well, never mind then. I won't do that. I was going to try to turn on the Q&A session, so that way if you had questions and you were over on the Google Hangout site, you could just ask the question that way, but I can't do that because you have to apparently enable that before you start the Hangout live. I hate all of this talk about how Clowney is not worth this pick all of a sudden and that he takes plays off and all that stuff. It's like, guys, if you watched the film, and I know these guys watch the film, but if you watch the film, the plays he took off were plays that weren't towards him. He was a defensive end rushing the passer, and they ran the ball the other way. Could he chase them down? Sure, but if it's not towards him, he's 20 yards out of the play because of the way it was designed. What did he take off? I'm
gonna go with the Omar Kelly theory here. Basically, he lottery ticket, so he's not going to get hurt.
Yep. Oh yeah, I think that's a big part of it too.
To be honest, I mean, you know you're going top 5. I mean, whether you get number one overall is one thing, but you know you're going top 5 in this draft. Your talent says so. As long as you don't come out and lay an egg this season, you know, if it were me, I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, what has he got? What has he got to lose by doing that? Maybe a few draft spots.
Oh yeah, yep. I think that I think this is a case, and I think it's the same somewhat for Bridgewater, that he was rated so high for so long that people started looking for ways to tear him down, and you end up with things like, oh, he takes plays off, because every defensive end in the league doesn't already do that. I mean, how many times last year were we screaming, why is Cameron Wake on the sideline? Every defensive end gets a break. He's out there every play at South Carolina. So there's some you have to expect in the NFL, they'll rotate him off the field where he'll take a play off. So there's some give and take here, and unfortunately with the way that we build up and then tear down draft prospects, we don't give and take. We just take until, oh, it's a horrible pick. And the funny part is, who was it? Somebody was talking about it on the radio today, that they had talked to a few GMs, and they said that these extra 2 weeks, the GMs have all hated, because it's given them 2 more weeks to watch film, and they've started nitpicking every player. So they liked a player, they knew they were going to pick him, and suddenly now they're watching film for the 8,000th time on this guy and going, oh, well, he misstepped right there, I'm going to grade him down a little bit. And suddenly every single player is getting graded down.
Yeah, you can start second-guessing yourself a lot with this extra time. I hope they get rid of that.
Apparently, from what somebody was saying, that the NFL's considering moving it back to June now, which I think is a horrible idea, because now these rookies aren't getting in till June, and then you're already into July training camp.
Not only that, but mock drafts will destroy the world at that point.
Oh, dear God, yes. Look, I enjoy doing mock drafts, but oh, dear God, yes.
There's someone at a Rams party with a Rams-colored Elvis haircut. Math.
Oh, yep.
Awesome. And someone in a Colt McCoy jersey. Brave lad, that guy.
Did you see they had a picture today of 3 Cleveland Browns fans walking down the street in New York. One was wearing a Tim Couch jersey, one was wearing I think it was Colt McCoy, and then one was wearing somebody else, another failed Browns quarterback. It was just like, aw, you poor 3 guys.
This is going to be a quarterback.
You think so?
It's possible.
Facebook, I'm trying to help you out. I have too much stuff open right now. Hold on. I'm trying to help you out, Facebook. I'll get you a link to this show. Hopefully the site is actually able to hear us, because I have not checked the site yet to see if they are.
James just said it was information overload with the draft, us, live thread, Twitter, and the Rangers game.
Well, there's one answer to that, James. Turn off everything but us.
This is either going to be one of the top 2 tackles, Matthews, Robinson. It's going to be Sammy Watkins. 2 surprise picks here would be Mike Evans or a quarterback, and another possible pick would be Khalil Mack. I've heard they're high on him. I've read that, but there's that dude from Modern Family there at the Rams. Dude, I thought you were a season ticket holder. You could have been down there in the pit.
I could have, but I didn't. Hey, but I am rocking a nice Pro Bowl jersey today, in these weird orange and silver colors. I'm so unhappy. You know what comes tomorrow for me? My draft hat. I wanted it tonight, and it will get here tomorrow. My draft hat gets here tomorrow. The pick is in for the Rams.
Yep.
Okay.
Another no surprise.
No surprise. Greg Robinson to the Rams with the second pick. That's what everybody has mocked. So
Mock drafts are winning right now.
yeah.
Now, with that pick, it's going to be really interesting for Jacksonville because they've got so many options here. Do they take Khalil Mack, add him as that Leo pass rusher? Do they take a quarterback? Do they get Johnny Manziel here? Do they go for Sammy Watkins? Now that 2012 first round pick Justin Blackmon is pretty much out.
Yeah, I think they go Sammy Watkins.
See, that's one of those things that it's so hard to mock drafts and do stuff is because wide receivers are the sexy position. It's the flashy position. Everybody wants wide receivers, and they bust so much. I mean, it's just you can take guys like A.J. Green and Julio Jones and Calvin Johnson and say, hey, let's get one of those in the first round. But for every one of those guys you get, there's however many Peter Warricks and Carlos Rogers and numerous Mike Williamses. It's just so hard. I mean, and I don't feel Sammy Watkins is going to be a bust. But, man, it's just so hard to pick. I mean, a couple years ago, people were saying we should trade up for Justin Blackmon. And now look.
Yeah.
Guy's basically out of the league. And it's not that he's untalented. Just can't keep his head on.
Real quick, just to make sure, everybody in the live thread, are you guys having any issues with hearing us or anything? Since I'm sure, Duke, you have TVs on, and I've got a TV on. So just want to make sure you guys aren't getting weird backfeed from the TVs as we're talking. So just let me know in the live thread, just so we can try to figure it out and how to... Okay, thanks, James. I see James is planning to take down pictures as they post in the thread. So if you're planning to post a picture, please don't. James will take it down. Let me, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go pin this into its spot. I can unpin this.
I remember this time last year, Miami was on the clock.
Yes.
Boom.
Well, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. We had to give it a few minutes before we all of a sudden went, wait, we just traded up?
And we were all like, here comes Lane Johnson. But we were wrong.
So, how long until Jake Long is a free agent again?
After this year.
You think so?
Yeah. I looked at the numbers, and you're going to make me look at them again, aren't you?
It's a question that has to be asked. They signed him last year. The Rams signed him last year and just drafted a first-round tackle. So
yeah, and Oscar, one of our site members who posts a lot on Twitter and is a big draft guy, he was on one of our Phinsider TV episodes several months ago. He says he thinks Greg Robinson will start out at guard, not right tackle. 2015 cap. Jake Long has an $8 million cap savings if released.
For next year?
For 2015. So
yeah.
he's team this year. I didn't look at 2014, but I think it's a negative cap hit, and nobody's going to trade for him. There is something that if you trade for a guy, it's different than if you straight up cut a guy and
right.
Cap hit. I don't know how that works. Jake Long has a $1.5 million cap savings this year. So, I mean, what are you going to do with $1.5 million, you know? So, and we say that like $1.5 million is, you know, change you find under the couch. But in terms of, you know, are you going to use it to pick up a player? What are you going to sign with that? Probably not a whole lot. So, I think he will man the left tackle spot. Greg Robinson will be the left guard starting out. Former and once again current right tackle Roger Saffold will be the starting right tackle, and then next year Greg Robinson will move over to left tackle. Jake Long will be back on the free agent market, playing for the Jets or someone. I know I'm not the only one that notices this, but doesn't it always seem like that once a team comes into the AFC East, they stay in the AFC East?
Yes. Oh yeah.
All right, the pick is in for the
Other
Jaguars.
than other than well, the Jaguars war room looks a lot better this year.
Yeah.
See that picture from last year? That quad box? That's still the funniest picture. If you haven't seen it, I know that they had it up on Big Cat Country today, SB Nation's Jacksonville site, but it's it shows um, four draft or war rooms, and it had two up here. I can't remember who it was. It was like Dallas and a couple other teams. Two up here, two down here. The two up here had like 20 people in them with computers and everything. The one down here, same thing. And then the Jaguars had two people and a piece of paper on the table, and that was it.
Poor
So
guys.
here's the Jags.
Oh,
Oh, you're ahead of me. Nice pick for them. I like it. I like that pick.
all right. Let me get my phone out because I've got a couple of friends that are Jaguars. All right. And sorry, I'm holding the computer on my lap, so if it's bouncing around, I apologize. Wow, that really throws a kink in the things for. That really throws a kink in the things for the Browns. I bet they were hoping he falls. Of course, I've read conflicting reports. They don't want Manziel. They do want Manziel. So who knows? But now I think we've all kind of predicted Sammy Watkins to them in the first over several mock drafts. So, man, I'm glad we don't play them this year. You've got Josh Gordon and Sammy Watkins on the outside. It's going to be tough. Oh, well, my brother, who's getting married this weekend, and his friend are both Jacksonville fans, and they have now just they've texted me saying they are Panthers fans. Not like this. They would have rather had Johnny Manziel. Talk about a polarizing guy. There's no in between on this guy. You either love him or you hate him.
I really think Blake Bortles was the right pick. I really do. It gives them the quarterback that they need, whether he needs a year to develop or not. It gives them a quarterback. That franchise needs so much help that they have to just basically essentially start over, and you do that with a quarterback. I feel sorry for Chad Henne. He's getting booted out again, but what you gonna do? The robot has to go.
Hey, he's had his chances. And if Blake Bortles doesn't win that job coming out, ooh, that's bad for him.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a trade. This is going to be Sammy Watkins to the Lions.
Was
That's my
was
guess.
it Lions? No, I
That's
think
my
they
guess.
said Bills.
Oh, I didn't hear.
I think they said Bills. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back.
Now you're stuck with me. Oh, it's the Bills. He's correct. This is Sammy Watkins. this is going to be an interesting pick for Buffalo. Let's see who they take. Is it going to be Matthews? Is it going to be Watkins? And remember, they traded and got Mike Williams. Not that that matters, but they've got Mike Williams. They've got Robert Woods. They've got Stevie Johnson. Maybe they didn't think they would get Jake Matthews where they wanted him.
I'm back.
Okay.
I know you were scared.
Yeah, I talked to myself for a couple seconds, and then I got silent, just texting. My friend says the Jags could have the entire first round to themselves and would still screw it up. But I disagree. I think the Jags did it right here, but I'm not a fan of Mansell. So, all right, 9th overall. Wow, a first for next year and a 4th for next year. Did I read that right? Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins.
All right, somebody needs to send a tweet to out to Brent Grimes, telling him he's got his work cut out for him.
Okay, can we get the graphic back up? What was the pick?
It looked like the 9th pick this year, the first round pick next year, and a 4th round pick next year, which is a steal for the Browns.
Oh, helps if I use the right keyboard.
Yeah, but I agree with, let's see. Let's see who said it on the site here. I saw it. Where did it go? Yeah, Joshua.Herd.31 says Stevie Johnson now up for a trade. That would not surprise me in the least. You could put Mike Williams and Sammy Watkins on the outside, Robert Woods on the
it's a
slot.
It's a 4th this year.
4th this year, okay.
Yep, 4th rounder this year.
All right, since there's a little lull in the action here now that the Raiders are on the who do you name? Who are some names that if the Dolphins pick, you will be very disappointed in? The reason I ask that is because I believe there's a ton of players out there that if the Dolphins picked, people will be fine with, even if it's a guard. I don't really want a guard in the first round, but even if we pick, say, Xavier Su'a-Filo, I don't think fans are going to be like, oh, that was a terrible pick, or, we really just who are some names of guys, like if you heard that name for the Dolphins, you would just be like, ah.
I'm not against Quanjo, but I wouldn't take him, if that makes sense.
Oh, I would hate that pick.
I feel that if they take him, they've done their homework to make sure that knee is right. but yeah, it's not the pick I would make. I think that there has to be somebody else somewhere.
I would hate that pick. That and any quarterback.
Oh, any quarterback? Yeah, no, we don't need a quarterback
That's
in the first. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth round quarterback, I'm okay with. In third, I'd even say it's probably too early.
Those guys, or any quarterback at Quanjo, and that's a waste of a draft pick, in my opinion. You've just thrown it away. Might as well just light it on fire and burn it. And I know people are saying, well, Tannehill's not a proven guy yet. Who cares? He's got one more year. We don't have to pick up the option if they don't want to. If he's not the answer this year, trade up and get a guy next year. What have you got to lose? Don't say, well, I'm going to get a guy this year, and no, that's not how you do it. I agree. Wild time, Beaver. Miko Grimes is not impressed. The Floridian debater tweeted Miko Grimes, Watkins better pack his damn lunch. This isn't college.
First curveball of the 2015
All right, Oakland's pick is in. This is going to be interesting too. I've heard they really like Mac. I've heard they really like Mike Evans. So Mike Evans is not going past Tampa Bay. And if he gets picked here, Khalil Mack is the next pick because it'll be Atlanta, and they will have to get a pass rusher. Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack. Yeah, you're ahead of me this year.
Boom. I agree, MHTD. We all need 2 TVs. Need an entire room here.
Sammy Watkins was Clemson, right?
Clemson, yes.
Okay, I'm writing it going, wait, is that right? Yeah, okay.
Pro Football Focus had an interesting article this week about running backs, and apparently if you get a running back from Clemson, they usually turn out to be pretty good. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Buffalo next year with the running back with C.J. Spiller, because I believe his contract is up. I wanted to say they have the option, but he came in the year before that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him if they let him go as a free agent. And the obvious question is, if he goes as free agent, should the Dolphins go after him? And that is an absolute yes. Depends on price, though. I'm just not a fan of overpaying running backs. I don't consider him – he's a very good running back. I don't consider him I don't want to use the word – I don't know what word to use here. I don't want to say bell cow, but he's not a kind of back, in my opinion, that you invest a lot of money in, because if you run him a lot, he has a tendency to get injured.
Yeah.
So for the right price, yes. Even if it's a little bit higher than the right price. I mean, I'm not going to go out there and throw – wide receiver money at C.J. Spiller. But if they let him go, I'd absolutely get him for, a $6 million a year kind of deal. Does that sound about right for him?
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot, but you got to think that what he does in the passing game as well, he would be worth it, in my opinion, considering that Miami is going to get a wide receiver this year, and so they should be building up the wide receiver core. Again, the offensive line will be better this year. Interesting. B. Bickley says Anthony Barr could be the next pick, and I could see that.
I could see that too. Absolutely.
And I'm going to go out on the limb here. I am not a big fan of Eric Ebron. I think of him when I watch him. I watch some of his tape. He's got some good run after the catch, but first of all, the Vernon Davis comparisons need to stop. That's not going to happen. He's athletically, and I just had to block my camera. Sorry. Okay.
Welcome back. They all got to watch me typing.
Yes. Like I said, this is a different kind of show, so there's not and we don't have commercials like TV does. But I watched his tape.
We have no camera on you. Where'd your camera go?
I turned it off.
Oh, okay.
I'll turn it back on in a few minutes. I've watched some of his tape. If you look at him, first of all, there's a lot of comparison to Vernon Davis. I don't make that comparison at all. Vernon Davis is an athletic freak. Go look at the combine numbers and those same kind of tests between Ebron and Vernon Davis. And Vernon Davis crushes him across the board. Honestly, if you look at his overall numbers, Eric Ebron's numbers are closer to Charles Clay in terms of athleticism. He ran a little bit faster 40 than Charles Clay. Charles Clay had a better vertical, better three-cone drill, better short shuttle, stuff like that. Now, is he a better overall tight end than Charles Clay? Maybe. But Eric Ebron did not have huge numbers until this past year. He had 8 total touchdowns in college. By comparison, you look at guys like Austin Seferian-Jenkins, look at guys like Jason Morrow. Those guys have better touchdown numbers. So in my opinion, I think it's a waste of, I don't want to say a waste of a pick, but I think if you're going for a tight end, he's a matchup guy, but a lot of what I saw from him is he lines up a lot at wide receiver. I just don't see him as necessarily being this huge threat that everyone's making him out to be, like he's some kind of one-of-a-kind kind of tight end. I don't see that. I see him as being a good player. I don't see him as being necessarily an elite tight end. He's not a Jimmy Graham. He's not a type. And that's why I like Austin Seferian-Jenkins a whole lot more than him, simply because he's a bigger tight end, he's a bigger target, and I think that in the offense that Miami wants to run, I think he would do very well. Whereas I think in terms of numbers wise, I don't think Ebron would do that much more for us than what Charles Clay has. And I know that's going against the grain, but those numbers just kind of stick out to me. Not to mention the fact he has a really high drop rate, and it just bothers me that in 3 years, and being he was the number one weapon for Carolina, he wasn't. They didn't have a lot of weapons around him.
Right.
He was a pretty much primary target, and he only scored 8 total touchdowns. He scored 3 touchdowns last year. I don't know. I just don't see that as being, when you draft a guy like that, what are you drafting him for? Are you drafting him just to get yak? Are you drafting him just to get, what are you drafting him for? And in my opinion, if you're drafting a guy like that, you want a guy that scores touchdowns. And in my opinion, that's Austin Seferian-Jenkins. It's one of the reasons I like him. I mean, the guy's a big target. He gets up into the end zone. He scores touchdowns. 21 in 3 seasons. So I would much rather have a guy that scores touchdowns over a guy that just gets a lot of yards. I mean, isn't that the same argument we've seen about Brian Hartline a lot? Is that he gets a lot of yards, doesn't get in the end zone very much. So that's enough for my Ebron rant. We'll probably end up drafting him, so.
Just because you did that, yeah.
I won't be disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I won't say, "Oh, this guy sucks." It's just I don't think of him as being this incredible weapon that he's being made out to be by the media. And this is a pig. I wonder if Atlanta's going to take Ebron now that we're talking about him, simply because they could use a tight end. I've read that too, that Johnny Football won't make it past. He won't make it past Tampa Bay. Let's see what the pick is. Jake Matthews.
Okay, 2 of the tackles are off the board.
So that's kind of what we expected. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say who I think my pick is for the Dolphins. Trade down or not, I think once the board is cleared, unless I think they'll take Zach Martin if he's there, just because. But I don't think he's going to be there. The way I feel the board is going to go, I think they're going to take Juwan James.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to see that.
It's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be Juwan James or it's going to be Ryan Shazier. I mean, Shazier even came out tonight in a Dolphins-colored suit.
He did.
So, if he does get picked by them, we'll have to call the Silver Fox up and say, listen, you want to quit tipping your picks like that. And, of course, there's a lot of people who don't care for necessarily for Shazier. Like, I think Omar was down on him, saying he doesn't have instincts and all that stuff like that. But I've read a lot of good stuff on him. You watch him play. I don't necessarily think he's a guy that's going to come in and dominate immediately. I think he's a guy that in 2015 will be a very, very good player for the Dolphins. I mean, the guy's a missile. And there's even some talk that he could play inside linebacker or middle linebacker. They may try that. He will definitely be on the field in nickel packages if Miami drafts him, simply for his ridiculous 4.3 speed. He ran a sub 4.4 and pulled up.
Yeah.
Hamstring injury, run a sub 4.4. And just for the fun of it, the other day I went out and attempted to. I tried to see what it would be like to run a 40, just playing around with it. And of course, it's not accurate. But the first thing that I discovered is I'm really old, and my explosiveness is completely gone. So, yeah, that 10-yard split thing, that's freaky.
I'm getting some tweets right now because I said that a year after the Dolphins jumped up to the number 3 overall pick, the Bills did it this year to the 4th. And I got tweets of differences. The Bills got the better player. Yeah, but the Bills will play their pick unlike the Finns did. Sad to say that. I disagree. Look, I understand we all wanted a lot from Deion Jordan last year. Absolutely 100% agree with that. But when you actually look at it, the fact that he missed the early parts of camp because he couldn't be there because of the NFL rules, he was injured, then he got injured again. So I understand the team going, you know what, this is a long-term investment. Let's hold off a little bit. It was frustrating, but I don't think that they got a better player. I think once Deion Jordan hits his stride, Deion Jordan is going to dominate. I think he will.
I was talking with someone on Twitter the other day. It may have been Oscar. It may have been someone else. I'm not entirely sure. All right, when you talk about pass rushers, of course, Miami's got one of the best in the league. You watch him and what he does. And the one thing that you watch about Cameron Wake is, number one, is he gets off the line just about better than anyone else in the league. I mean, you can't really name a better pass rusher that gets off the line as fast or as powerfully as he does. The second thing is he generates a lot of pressure, but not always gets a lot of sacks. And part of that's because, quarterbacks may get rid of the ball faster or whatever else. I think that one of the things he does is he forces the offensive line to make adjustments for him regardless. And because he is constantly that presence in the backfield, and the only player that I've seen on the Dolphins that has that kind of ability right now besides Wake is Deion Jordan. Now, I like Olivier Vernon, but I think, honestly, if Wake was more comfortable on the right side, he would be the right tackle, and Vernon would be the right defensive end, and Vernon would be the left end. Vernon's more of a power player. He's got some athleticism, but he doesn't necessarily pose that, explosiveness and bend that Jordan has. So when they get Jordan, get his strength up, they get his technique and everything better, that guy's going to be a force off the end. Not to mention the fact that we did see him last year run stride for stride with Rob Gronkowski down the field. We've got a guy that's versatile. I mean, honestly, if he only got 5 to 6 sacks a year, but he added 4 interceptions a year, I would absolutely take that. And those are some sweet shoes.
Miko Grimes, she tweeted out, Watkins better pack his damn lunch. This isn't college.
Yeah, I mentioned that one earlier.
Oh, did you? I missed
Yeah,
it. I was probably typing.
Somebody posted it on the site. Who posted it on the site? I saw it. I think James has already taken it down. But yeah, somebody posted that on the site. They posted the tweet, so it's going to be interesting. And K-Dog's true. No one expected Olivier Vernon to explode onto the scene like he did.
That's absolutely 100% true.
And the big thing there is that Jordan couldn't hold up against the run, and Vernon could. I think with Jordan getting a little bit bigger and stronger, I think that they could.
I think a part of that is not necessarily him putting on weight, but I'm 2 years, no, a year and a half, almost 2 years out of shoulder surgery. And now, granted, I don't have all the workout regimen and all that of them, but I still have weight or strength issues in my shoulder. So, absolutely, him now a year out of shoulder surgery, he should be getting that strength back because no matter what, it was not as good as it should have been to start last year. So just getting that strength back to the shoulder to where it should have been will be a big help for him. Now add in a year of NFL workouts, and he'll be really good to go.
Yeah, and all of that stuff about him being, work ethic and all that stuff, I believe Philbin shot that down when he said he was there a couple weeks before everyone else.
Yeah.
So...
Andrew Abramson just tweeted, pretty sure team saw the photoshopped Manziel draft beer and decided not to take him. Sorry, guys. I know when Duke leaves, it kind of gets boring because I'm jumping around between everything. Sorry. It's part of. If you watched the video last year, it was pretty much the same thing then too. I've got Twitter on a computer over here. I've got Facebook, the site, and SB Nation here, and I'm trying to bounce between all of them to try to keep up with everything going on and to keep you guys up to date and keep the site up to date because, let's face it, if I don't post something on the site, people get angry at me sometimes. Not really. I'm just making that up. But the Bucks have their pick in, so we'll see what happens here. Evans makes sense. I know they're talking about it. Evans makes sense. I really think that they could throw the curveball here and go Johnny Manziel.
Well,
oh, it is Evans. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of expected that.
It's not a surprise. It really isn't. I just thought that they could throw a curveball. But I think Minnesota wanted Bortles. I really think that was the pick they would have wanted. So we'll have to see where it goes from here because they're now a wild card and could mess with whatever the Dolphins end up having planned. So it's an interesting one. I like the Mike Evans. If you guys know or have listened to me, I know I drove Keith and Duke crazy with it. He was absolutely my number one pick. Mike Evans was the guy I wanted. He's exactly what I want in a wide receiver for the Dolphins. I knew there was zero chance of him getting there. I knew that it wasn't going to happen. But it was dreaming, hey, if I could pick any one player, that's the guy I want. And now, obviously, that's not going to happen. So I guess I'll just have to live. At least it's not in the AFC East. If he were in the AFC East, it would be horrible. Um, looking forward to the 8th pick. This one, like I said, it's going to be weird. I really think they wanted Bortles. I think that they wanted that strong-armed, throw the ball through the weather. They're playing in a college stadium. Then they're getting their own open-air stadium. So I think that they wanted that strong-arm. They wanted that strong-arm quarterback. And, oh, we have a trade. So, see, I told you the Vikings were going to throw a curveball. The Vikings have made a trade.
Let's see who this is.
Interesting. Cleveland. Cleveland is on. No? Yeah, Cleveland is on the clock.
They moved up one.
They moved up one.
This is Manziel. Or is it Bridgewater? Dun, dun, dun.
That's an interesting trade. What did they think Cleveland or Minnesota was going to do that they had to get in front of them?
Is this the second time in 3 years that Minnesota has duped Cleveland one pick away?
It does seem like it, doesn't it? This is an interesting move.
Pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Trent Richardson.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That's an interesting move. They only traded up one place.
This is going to be
the only thing the only way it makes sense to me is if they thought Minnesota was taking Johnny Manziel. That's the only reason it will make any sense. They had to think Minnesota was taking Manziel, so they made a trade to move up to get Manziel, and Minnesota didn't really want him.
What Rick Spielman, 9th overall on a 5th-round pick. That's not bad. What Rick Spielman lacks in GM skills, he should absolutely take and play the World Series of Poker. He and Jeff Ireland. Johnny Foosball. I was kind of hoping the Jets would trade up for Johnny Football. Just to watch the giant black hole that would open up and engulf the earth. It's going to be funny if this is Aaron Donald, who I have seen mocked to the Vikings at 7 or 8. Oh.
Wow. Wow.
They had to move up one pick for that?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what they may have thought was that the Lions were going to jump them.
Oh, I have not updated this. Okay. So.
I don't know. I'm kind of mixed about Gilbert. I've seen some good things, seen some bad things. Yeah, They are. I mean, Cleveland's got a good core of
They
players.
do.
If Justin Gilbert works out, they're going to have a very nasty defense. They just got to get that quarterback. And my guess is they're betting someone's going to be there at 26. And I'm going to bring up something. I was going to quote. I was going to actually make a comment on the site, but I thought I would do. I thought I would bring it up on here. Zag mentioned he hoped that the quarterbacks would fall, so to make Miami's pick at 19 more enticing for others. The people that are going to jump up to trade with Miami aren't going to be for quarterbacks. It's going to be for wide receivers. It's going to be the Odell Beckhams, the Brandon Cooks, those guys. Teams like the 49ers, the Saints, these teams that need those extra players that already have quarterbacks in place, they're going to be the ones that want to move up. So we may be on here at midnight when Miami picks, the way these things are going now. So
I I don't even know. I'm really surprised the one spot move.
the only thing that I can think is that they were afraid someone was going to jump.
It has to be. It has to be that they thought that somebody was going up there.
If this is not a quarterback here, this is going to be Aaron Donald. That's my guess from Minnesota. I've read that. I read that earlier this week, and it makes some sense to me. So, of course, everyone said that the Lions were really interested in trading up for Sammy Watkins. So, Joshua Hurd 31 says Romo to Vikings for pick 9. I don't think the Vikings want to take that ridiculous contract. I was reading James, and I think it was Miami has the Dolphins, or MTHD now, on Twitter today, talking about Romo's contract and how much of an albatross that thing is. Basically, what James was saying, and I agree with what he said, was basically they were betting on his back getting well, and it hasn't. So even if they, of course, Mayock said that the Cowboys may draft Manziel. If that's the case, I mean, you may have $40 million worth of quarterback sitting on the bench. Makes Matt Moore's contract not seem that bad, does it?
Yeah, that's true. Chris Perkins just tweeted out, Justin Gilbert, Joe Hayden, nasty cornerback combo for Browns. Can't justify price for Gilbert, but that's a lockdown cornerback duo. And that is true. That's absolutely true. But I don't know why you make that trade.
Dolphin Kenny wonders if this is Eric Ebron here. That's possible. The Minnesota has Kyle Rudolph, who's a pretty good tight end. So I don't know that they would go with that. But if you looked at what Cincinnati has done over the past couple of years, I mean, they had I can't think of that one tight end's name that they have, but then they drafted Tyler Eifert last year. So it's very possible that they could go with a two tight end thing like that. And that's becoming kind of the thing now. Used to two tight end sets was, a run heavy set. And New England's kind of changed that now. So a lot of people are going with basically pass offense out of a heavy set. I may have to go make a pot of coffee later. You want some?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need it.
I'll FedEx it to you. You have some coffee. You have some coffee tomorrow. What do you think the chances that Clinton Dix makes it to is the pick at 19? if we pick at 19.
That I saw that earlier. I put it up on Twitter and Facebook, I think. That I think it was Rob Rang. Yeah, Rob Rang over at CBS had that mocked to the Dolphins, was haha Clinton Dix. And it's not one that I had actually considered. The safety I'd always thought of was Calvin Pryor, but I don't know. Clinton Dix could make a lot of sense.
I don't think he makes this again, but if he does, it's very possible.
Yeah.
Louis Delmas, can't practice. He's only on a 1-year contract. I think Jimmy Wilson could play safety, but he's pretty good nickel corner, and they like him in that role. So,
Okay, Vikings up. Let's see what they do. The Vikings have decided to skip this pick and let somebody else take it.
Oh!
Anthony Barr, yeah. I'm not overly surprised by that. It makes a lot of sense for them.
I kind of have them pegged for. Oh, come on, Mike. Don't even go there.
Did he just call him? Said he looks like Jason Taylor?
I think he meant, actually resembles him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But then again, when we picked Deion Jordan, he said if he works out, he'll be like the guy. Think of him as Jason Taylor. So, and that's something else I want to comment on. And I know it's human nature, it's fan nature to do this. See, now they just showed that right there with Barr. To me, that wasn't a great play. That was a lot better. He had better hands on that one. Yeah, thank you, Mike. But as I've seen a lot this year, people saying, "Oh well, Chris Borland from Wisconsin, he's going to be the next Zach Thomas, or he's a little guy like Zach Thomas." I'm like, look, these guys that Miami had, like Dan Marino, Jason Taylor, these guys, they were special guys. We're not finding another one. The chances of Miami or any team finding another guy like Dan Marino is going to be slim. So I just want
Barry Sanders guy.
Yeah. I just wish people, like Mike Mack and stuff, quit comparing him to, to all these, of course that's the comparisons they have to make, but, Jason Taylor was Jason Taylor, man. Don't take that away.
Barry, the microphone's like right in front of your face.
I'm so mad the Lions wouldn't trade him to Miami. God. Was it 99? Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for them. And see, they don't really have a tight end like him on the roster. So, I think with him and a guy I really wanted the Dolphins to get last year, Joseph Foria, basically all that guy does is catch touchdowns. He had 10 catches last year and 8 of them were touchdowns or something ridiculous. But that'll be good for them. That's a good pick for the Lions. Thank you. No, he's not.
It's so funny that you're answering Mike Mayock.
He's a better athlete with better hands. Vernon Davis is 6'3", 250, ran a 4.33 bench press, like 40-some reps or 30-something ridiculous reps. Basically, he jumped out of the gym, had a 42-inch vertical compared to, 32-inch for this guy. Had a 128-inch broad jump. The dude is like a phenomenal athlete, a ridiculous athlete. This guy's not even close to him. And then hands, this guy, every scout and everyone out there that I've read said this guy's got bad hands. I mean, if I'm Vernon Davis, I take that as an insult. And again, I'm not saying that Eric Ebron is a bad player, but Mike Mayock just said he's a better athlete with better hands than Vernon Davis. Did I just get muted?
No.
Oh, something happened. Oh, okay.
Oh, commercial time.
Commercial time. Come on, Mike Mayock. Yeah, but, a lot of people, and I like Mike Mayock. I think he's one of the better draft analysts out there on TV, but he's also the guy that said he would bang the table for Blaine Gabbert, too. So.
Wrong keyboard. It was a good sound, though, wasn't it? Okay. But I know a lot of people, and I'm seeing it on Twitter, I'm seeing it on the site, upset that Ebron's gone. But at the same time, the fact that Ebron went means that that's another pick that Mosley's still there, the offensive linemen are still there, Pryor, Clinton Dix, all those people are still there. So,
and again, people are saying, I'm reading on the site now, you better have offensive production, you better be able to score. 8 touchdowns in 3 seasons in college, in the ACC. We're not talking about SEC here, or 8 touchdowns in 3 seasons. Of course, I'm biased because I wanted Austin Seferian-Jenkins. He had 8 touchdowns last season. If Miami chooses him, I will be very ecstatic about that. Why? Because I'm more confident of his ability to get in the end zone. Just my thing.
Do you think he can be there at 50?
No. Well, it's possible. Walter Football's mock I read, his mock from this week, had him going right before us to the Jets, and that made me that kind of made me upset.
And what's the deal with Jason Morrow? He just sort of has dropped off the map when it comes to tight ends being stacked up for this draft. Aaron Rodgers is on the phone. He's getting picked again?
Awesome. Now is when it's going to get interesting. I don't know who they're going to pick. I could see this being Taylor Lewan. Or We're nearing the Dolphins pick here.
James just informed me that we are like behind as the show is, I guess, going into Google and then routing back out. That
Yeah.
we're way behind. When we say the pick, it's well already done, according to everybody seeing it live, which is kind of sad. But I guess at the same time, at least you're still hearing our analysis because we have exceptional analysis.
Dang right. Man, with Anthony Barr off the board, I really have no idea who this is going to be. Well, now you got to understand though too. We're seeing the pick the same time they are. They're just seeing us see the
Right.
pick later. So
Right.
Oh, they're not going to add a quarterback. They added Charlie Whitehurst.
um.
Thank you, K-Dog.
I'm going with Luan. Just because there's nothing else.
Good call.
Ha! I'm good.
This means that Zach Martin will likely be off the board, meaning Miami's going to trade down. I really want the Dolphins to draft Billy Turner also. Give that dude a year and he will be a beast. Please don't say that, Sonny Crockett. Please don't say that.
What's that?
He says Dolphins trade up for Quanjo, LOL. Don't even do it. I'd like to stay on the show for the rest of the night. Because I will hang up and call it a weekend. I won't even care at that point.
Okay, so since we're just sitting here, recap just in case you're just catching up or you missed something. Texans took Jadeveon Clowney with the top overall pick. No surprise there. The Rams took Greg Robinson with the final pick of the RG3 trade with the Washington Redskins. So they picked Greg Robinson there. Jacksonville took Blake Bortles with the third overall pick. Then it started to get a little fun. The Buffalo Bills jumped up from ninth overall to fourth overall, giving the Browns their ninth overall pick, a fourth round pick this year, and their first round pick in 2015. The Bills, now at the fourth spot, took Sammy Watkins. The Raiders came back and took Khalil Mack at 5. Atlanta took Jake Matthews at 6. And the Buccaneers took Mike Evans at 7. Then the Vikings were on the clock at 8, but the Browns traded up from 9 to 8, giving the Vikings a fifth-round pick this year to take Justin Gilbert. So the Browns took Justin Gilbert with the 8th pick that they had traded the 9th pick for, that they had traded the 4th pick for. The Vikings, having moved back from the 8th to the 9th spot, took Anthony Barr. The Detroit Lions at the 10th spot took Eric Ebron, and the Titans took Taylor Lewan with the 11th spot, and we're currently waiting for the Giants to make their pick here. So that updates you on everything that's gone on so far.
It really doesn't seem like it was that long ago that we were watching this last year.
It doesn't.
Is that not working? And I don't know. I mean, I think Zach Martin will be a good pick if Miami takes him, but I really don't want them to take him just because every mock draft had it, and that's just blah. Could you imagine if they did the Major League Baseball draft like this? Now, the Major League Baseball draft mini-series next week.
Odell, wow.
Oh, I guess the Jets didn't want to go up and get him. Now he's going to play in the same stadium with the Jets.
He will. That's a good pick for the Giants.
That was kind of not totally unexpected, but
No, but yeah, I thought Jets or I thought 49ers. I thought the 49ers would try to make a trade to get up there and get him.
so they like them some LSU receivers, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Ruben Randall, Odell Beckham. There's one thing I read about Odell Beckham. I think it's Chris Kaufman put it out there on Twitter. Is that you look at his numbers? You see it there: 59 receptions, 8 touchdowns. He only had 2 touchdowns, I believe, against SEC competition. The remaining 6 touchdowns came against Kent State, Furman, and some other team. Maybe, I can't remember. I want to say TCU, but I'm not sure. That's where he scored every other time. He didn't against the SEC competition. He did not score. The only SEC team he scored against was Mississippi State, I believe. So it's one of those things like you look at what he does and you watch him here on the tape they show. You know, some good stuff, but you know, it's either super explosive, like awesome playmaker that you would expect from him, maybe. Oh, that's just a bad cut by the defensive back. I hate to say this, and I know it's not going to go over well, but that move they just showed up against Florida where he beat the press, that is a Brian Hartline move all day long.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yep.
Watch Brian Hartline play. That's exactly what he does. The only thing I would think that Brian Hartline would struggle with on that particular play maybe is reaching back for the catch. I think he does that, but you watch Brian Hartline when they try to press him, because he never just runs in a straight line. He's always shifty off the line of scrimmage, so it's hard for them to get a good jam on him. I mean, the bigger and better corners can. I mean, nobody, he's not going to beat the Darrell Reeveses of the world, but very few people do. But that is watching that move, I was like, yeah, that is a Brian Hartline special right there. Except instead of going across the middle, he would have broke outside, because that's just what he does. Oop, I believe I just saw some Brent Grimes on there. Of all the bad free agent picks that Jeff Ireland had, Brent Grimes was not one of them. And I wanted him the year he got franchised. I was disappointed in that he come back, but
Oh no, stay on this page. Don't do anything silly, computer. Come on, stay with me.
I'm getting more and more nervous as the Miami's pick comes up.
It's
I just
I've lost something. What did I lose? Oh, I lost this one. Okay, there it is.
It's been a long day, Floridian debater. It's been a long draft period, finally coming to an end. And then we will go into a 2-month hibernation until the season gets here, or training camp, I should say. Oh, I'm like a whole 2 seconds ahead of you, Kevin. I heard your TV. Oh, come on, let this be Johnny Manziel. This will be fun. Oh, Aaron Donald. I can see that if that's the pick. That's what guy on TV is saying. It could be. Because Kendall Lankford hasn't really been a good signing for them. Which I was kind of surprised. He was a very solid player here as a 5-tech. Yeah, that's going to be a scary defensive front for St. Louis.
Well, they've got Jake Long there rushing the passer, and
Got the Long brothers, twin.
that is still one of the greatest all-time fan posts
in the history of the world.
Oh. If you guys don't know, that was a few years ago. Jets fan.
Sanchez 6 was his handle.
Yes. Was on both Gangrene Nation and the Phinsider going off on how dangerous it was going to be for Sanchez to have to face a defensive line of Chris Long and Jake Long. I don't even remember. How were we getting Chris Long?
I don't even remember how that happened.
I don't even remember, but yeah. So it was crazy.
Oh, don't say that, K-Dog. If Miami picks Johnny Manziel, I will turn this off. And I may even call up DirecTV and cancel my Sunday ticket.
Can the Dolphins draft Johnny Manziel and move him to wide receiver and leave Ryan Tannehill at quarterback? We just like the Texas A&M connection, and we're just going to move the quarterback to wide receiver, just like what happened to Tannehill. That ran out of steam. I'm over it. Commercials take up too much time. We have nothing to talk about when they're at commercial.
We can analyze commercials.
Let's see. Martin is still on the board. Pryor is on the board. Mosley is on the board. I'll give you Clinton Dix.
Shazier's on the board.
Shazier's on the board.
Did you say Marquise Lee?
Yeah, the wide receivers. Yep.
So what's going to be? We're going to trade down. I'm feeling pretty good about that at this point. All right. While they're on this pick, I'm going to go charge up another cup of coffee.
Okay. Looking at my jersey in the camera, and because everything is reversed, how I see it, I just realized it looks like I'm wearing a 19, although the 9 is backwards, but it looks like I'm wearing a 19. I don't like that. I don't like that. Although Cam is right there, so... Okay. Let's assume that the Bears don't take this pick as Manziel. Do the Cowboys make that move? That's going to be really, really interesting. That's going to be really, really interesting.
Really interesting.
Say again?
What's going to be really, really interesting?
Assuming that the Bears don't pick Manziel right here, it's the Cowboys on the clock.
Yep. No, Pittsburgh is, it says.
Or it'll be Pittsburgh then Dallas, but Pittsburgh's pick is already in. So assuming Pittsburgh also goes, we have Big Ben, we don't need a quarterback.
I'm going to say Kyle Fuller here. I read that several weeks ago, so I heard they were very smitten with him. So
it's almost like we know what we're talking about. Almost. Okay, so Pittsburgh has to be in the market for offensive line, so Zach Martin to them would make sense. Dallas, who knows what Dallas will do?
I bet Dallas was hoping Donald would fall to them. He helps them. He would help them a lot.
Something just fell off my table, and I have no idea what it was.
Man, Pittsburgh. See, I kind of had them. You know, I'm gonna take a pick here that I had originally. I'm gonna say Rashid Hegeman.
Yeah.
I think he fits kind of what they do, but
I know the next pick. You want me to tell you, or you want to wait?
Go ahead.
Shazir's off the board.
You already know it?
Yeah. Shazir's off the board. So all the people that were screaming for him, he's gone.
Well, Miami was going to trade down anyway, so. Which means they're going to project him as an inside linebacker, and they're 3-4. Interesting. That's more surprising to me than say C.J. Mosley. He seems a better fit for the Steelers than.
I was never. I know a lot of people were big on him, and I mean, right there, it's in our thread. I just was never big on Shazier.
I mean, I liked what he brought to the table. I thought he would be a good pick, but
I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, he is he's a pass rusher and what the Dolphins don't need is a pass rusher.
well, they do like their linebackers, so they need to get young and a little more athletic on their interior, so that helps them. Just a few more picks away. I believe Denard's going to the Jets, unless Dallas or Baltimore takes him. I don't know that they will, but
Jerry's going Johnny Football, and Jason Garrett is going no, and they go back to the list, and Jerry Jones looks up again and goes Johnny Football, and Jason Garrett goes no. They go back to the list. That's all it's going to be for 10 whole minutes. Johnny Football, no. Johnny Football, no. Johnny Football, no. Yeah, we're going to pick Johnny Football.
I agree, Super Mario. If Miami drafted Austin Seferian-Jenkins, I would smile a lot. But let me go get my coffee.
the the draft party for the Cowboys is going crazy right now. Two and a half minutes. Tick, 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 tick. Are we about to break Twitter? That's what it's all going to come down to.
Forget breaking Twitter. Johnny Manziel's still in play for the Jets. That might take out a few galaxies. That guy just slammed the phone down awful hard. He didn't look happy about it.
Johnny Manziel told him no.
On the trade, they're arguing about something. That's funny. That one woman in the background looks like a dark-haired Marjorie Tyrell in the background. She looks like, I don't know why I'm here. I could be at a party somewhere. I don't know how long it takes someone to realize about that Marjorie Tyrell reference.
Aaron Rodgers, if you missed it, Aaron Rodgers tweeted out, "This should be an interesting 10 minutes."
it goes.
The pick is in. Oh, this. Hey, is somebody getting the shot of the Cowboys draft board again?
I hope so.
Don't we get that like every year?
Yeah.
This is This is just crazy. It's incredible how the Cowboys are the team that nobody knows what they're doing, and it's because it's do they pick a quarterback after just paying their quarterback?
Oh, thank goodness. I have to wonder if Jerry Jones is going to fly in from Dallas and make that pick himself.
One of the SB Nation guys just wrote, taking Bridgewater right here would be the single greatest troll move of all time.
Zach Martin.
Damn.
Oh, let me get my phone out and see what Omar's saying about it. Even though I don't follow him on Twitter, I'll look him up.
There's some fans there that don't like it. Almost sound like Jet fans.
They're just one pick away. Omar Kelly. I'm personally not a Johnny Manziel fan, but selecting him would make the nation pay attention to the Dolphins again. Decisions.
It's not the reason you want your team to be getting paid attention to. That's the Tebow to the Jaguars just so that they have the name.
And with that, I will not look at any more stuff he writes.
Okay.
There's something I've read a lot about here recently, and a lot of people aren't as high on Juwan James. But here's the thing about him and Morgan Moses. Those guys have experience at right tackle. Moving from left tackle to right tackle, oftentimes you have guys that struggle with that position. If Miami's looking for a guy that can come in and start and lock down the position, they've got two options. You draft a right tackle or you sign a right tackle. That's not to say these guys can't play left tackle, but Moses has experience at both. Juwan James has been stellar as a right tackle. Now the question would be, in terms of value, do you want to take Juwan James at 19? And again, it goes back to that term reach. Well, we don't know what Dennis Hickey's board looks like, so we don't know how high he has anybody rated. And the only comparison we have is to everyone else's stuff. So, I saw Walter Football have Juwan James mocked to the Dolphins. So if the Dolphins can't trade down, it would not surprise me to see Juwan James at 19 or Morgan Moses. I don't know that that's necessarily the best pick they can make there, but they would be good, solid picks that would, I would expect to come in and start and be successful immediately.
I have somebody on Facebook telling me that if he's available, forget the O-line and go for Johnny Manziel. Okay, at some point, you have to realize there's only one quarterback on the field. At some point. I just, it's, if they did that, I would just, I don't know what I would do.
The Ravens are on the clock, and this is going to be either C.J. Mosley or Marquise Lee.
I think Mosley makes sense here.
Don't say that, Sonny Crockett.
I do, by the way, love this commercial. The Jack in the Box. Oh, that's hot. Smoking commercial. I just love it when she does it back to them, and he just, you better be holding a sandwich.
Yeah.
I just enjoy that commercial for no reason.
Oh, man, really nervous.
Okay, let's talk this reach thing, because we're starting to see it in the thread. We're starting to see it on Twitter. Guys, how do you define a reach? If you're at 19, you want this guy, you can't trade back, nobody's making the trade with you. Your next pick is 50. That means that anybody on your board between 50 and 19 isn't a reach. Because if you like them and they're in that span, you have to take them at 19. So we get this idea that, oh, they reached for him. If you're reaching for a guy that's a fourth-round grade in the first round, yeah, that's a reach. But reaching for a guy that is, maybe he's graded out at 22, you pick him at 19, is that a reach? At what point does it become a reach? Is it 5 grades ahead, 10 grades, 20? I don't know. But it's just this idea that, oh, it's a reach. And then you also have to take into account, and I'll let you talk in a second, dude. You have to take into account, we don't know their board. All we do is we listen to all these talking heads. I have no idea what Dennis Hickey's board looks like. Nobody on this planet outside of the Dolphins and maybe, what's the GM from the Bucks? I've just blanked on his name.
Dominic?
Yeah.
No, he was the former GM.
Yeah, him. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He may be the only one that could put together a board from Dennis Hickey right now. So I hate this idea that, oh my God, if they pick Juwan James here, it's a reach. Maybe the Dolphins rated him as a 25th pick. He's the 25th pick on their board. Is it a reach to go up 6 if they can't get that trade? We don't know what's going on in the war room. We can't say, oh, they should have traded back. Oh, they should have done this. Because maybe they tried and couldn't. And here come the Ravens. So, Duke, I'll let you talk.
I will say that after the Ravens pick here. Let's see who they take. C.J. Mosley.
C.J. Mosley.
That makes a lot of sense. When you hear the guys on TV or anyone grade a draft, we're going to do it. It's going to happen. As soon as the draft is over with, the writers on the side are going to say, this is how I grade the picks, blah, blah, blah. What we're doing is basically saying, the way I look at it when I grade a pick is I look at, did I like the player? I don't necessarily think about necessarily the value of the pick. If you go out here and pick some guy that most everyone had as a late round pick in the first round, that's one thing. But these guys that are borderline late first, early second, if Miami can't trade down, if he's a guy you like, take him. When you hear somebody say, well, that's a reach, what you're basically saying is, I'm comparing my board to their board. And we don't know what their board says. So basically what you're saying is, on my board, he wouldn't be as high as what the Dolphins had him on their board. That's all you're saying is a reach. But, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But again, I don't. I like to think that I watch tape and I can evaluate players for an amateur. But you know, I would not even dare say that so and so's a reach. I mean, if they came out here and drafted Billy Turner in the first round, I would consider that a reach because I don't. I would think that he's a little bit lower on most people's boards, but I don't know how the Dolphins evaluated it. So yep.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Get out of that weird green stuff! Get out of that weird green stuff! Oh, I don't like that at all. Sorry, if you guys aren't watching NFL Network, they just showed Chad Pennington wearing Jets colors.
My thinking is this is going to be one of three players here. This is going to be Clinton Dix, Marquise Lee, or Darqueze Dennard. But Johnny Manziel to the Jets would just be so awesome. That would be so funny. I think he would start because I think he would be better at. I think he'd be better than Geno Smith, but.
Oh, I don't like it. Oh, I know Chad Pennington was a Jet for so long, but seeing him back in it, it's like it's just wrong. Oh, I don't like it.
Oh, good. So let's see. I wonder who Miami could trade down with. I don't know. We thought it would be Marino there, but they've sent us something about O'Brien that we don't. Yeah, I'm officially on the nervous clock now. Please take. I hope the Jets take Quanjo. That would just be perfect for the Dolphins. Because I don't want Quanjo to the Dolphins. Please don't take him. Oh my gosh, that would just. I'm thinking seriously about just blanking my screen out on the Dolphins picks. Man, I really want the Dolphins to trade down and get some extra picks.
Gangrene Nation and I are going back and forth on Twitter now. I wrote on NFL Network, Chad Pennington, get out of that green stuff. You need to be an aqua. So they wrote back, looks better in green. I just wrote back, gag.
And the Jets are still on the clock. I wonder if they're trying to trade down. Come on, don't do it, Jets. Don't do it, Jets. You know you want Quanjo.
Johnny Manziel.
Or Johnny Manziel, one or the other. And I think I'm going to cut on the Miami Dolphins website when the Dolphins go on the clock just to see what they're saying. I'll put it on low volume so it won't.
I'm surprised the Jets are able to do their JETS 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 chant without Fireman Ed, since he resigned from a position he doesn't hold. Omar Kelly, 5 years from now, Dolphins fans will be saying about Johnny Manziel, we should have picked him, or we dodged a bullet. I don't think we dodged a bullet, even if we don't. Or dodged a bullet implies that there was a chance we were going to take him. I don't think there's a chance we take him. Oh, I'm still bothered by Chad Pennington in green. I'm glad I'm not wearing a Chad Pennington jersey today. Oh.
Jets took every bit of time that they had.
Sure did.
The Dolphins are on the clock. Oh, man. Nerves. They're booing them at Sun Life Stadium. They're booing the Jets, that is.
Okay, Jets.
Oh, here it comes. Jets pick. Calvin Pryor. Wow. Surprised that he went. Surprised they went him over Clinton Dix.
I am too, but I'm not surprised it was a defensive pick. I got ragged on earlier for that they won't pick defense again. Of course they will. It's Rex Ryan. He always wants defense. You get your young quarterback a weapon there with. Oh wait, no, you didn't. How'd they do in that? Oh, that's right, UCF. BCS bowl game win. Nice. Okay. Sorry. I'm just thinking of UCF. Yeah, but that wouldn't be an interception in the NFL. It may have been in college, but it wouldn't have been in the NFL. He didn't get 2 feet down. Okay. Dolphins are on the clock.
Oh.
Oh, just lost my headphones. Okay. I'm back.
They're showing Johnny Manziel. Go away. Oh, going to commercial. that's loud. Oh, man. Yes, Captain. Man, Denisiki's taking all his sweet time. Get a good deal, man. Jeff Ireland will get a good deal. If there's one thing you can ever say about him is that he always got a good deal on draft day, or when it comes to trades. The one thing I'll say about drafting a safety or anything else like that, I mean, a corner you can see because we don't really have a second corner. We're kind of expecting Jamar Taylor to step up, and I don't really expect much from Cortland Finnegan. But a safety, I mean, if you draft, say, Clinton Dix, where do you play him over? I mean, does he start over Delmas?
Come on, turn in the pick.
Or trade the pick?
Yeah, I can go for an orange bar right there. Oh, I don't have a clue who to even predict anymore. Juwan James?
Don't know, man. Don't tell us. They're talking something over. There's TD. Oh my.
That's a scary Dan Marino.
Yeah. Come on.
Are the Chargers taking Johnny Manziel? Is that what we're going for here?
That would be awesome. The NFL.
More commercials.
Dennis Hickey, man, you're making us sweat through this. Stop doing this. If they're not debating a trade, or they're not negotiating a trade, I should say, then they're basically debating, do they think they can get someone better at 50 to play right tackle than they can get at 19 to play right tackle? Or can they get someone equivalent? That's what they're saying. And they could surprise everyone and take a receiver or something.
Two minutes.
Yeah, that second cup of coffee is not doing good for my nerves right now. Oh, they even took it off the screen. If they don't show the Dolphins pick, I'm gonna be so upset.
Mike Pouncey tweeted, "Damn, I can't wait until we pick. Hurry up." Miko responded, "Patience, grasshopper." Mike Pouncey responded, "LOL. Okay, Ocho Cinco."
MHTD just posted a fake ESPN.
The pick is in. Pick is in.
MHTD, he posted a tweet from the fake ESPN. It says, "If you were taking a shot every time Johnny Manziel slides a spot, there's no way you're reading this right now." Oh man, I wanted to trade down. All right, time to black out the screen.
Okay. Ah, this is infuriating. Just give us the pick.
Okay, here we go. And muting back on. All right. I understand the pick. I don't know that that's. I'll say this. I don't know that that's necessarily the best pick they could have made, but it is a good pick. I understand it. It's not. I'm not really surprised at this at all.
They said last week that the Dolphins had a first round grade on him.
I was kind of hoping to get him in a trade down, but this is not a bad pick. I'm going to
It's
disagree
not.
with fans. This guy is going to come in. He's going to start immediately. He's going to be he's going to be a good player on the right side of the line. And again, people are saying reach. To whom? I mean, we got to assume number one, they attempted to trade down and couldn't get a deal worked out. New Orleans is now on the clock. Interesting. And again, people are going to say this is a reach, but my question is why? How did you have him graded? Did you have him graded as a second round pick? Did you evaluate the tape, or did you just follow someone else's board that had him as a second round pick? I mean, I've seen boards this week. I've seen boards guys move up that were third round picks uh, suddenly become first round picks. I mean, it is what it is. So and again, there's a lot of folks on the site that don't think that Miami has playmakers, and I would disagree with that.
Damn it. Sorry. Copy and paste. I misspelled the guy's name. That's what I get for trying to do this as fast as I can.
Yep. And I think it's KIHO4. You're correct. Juwan James was seen as a riser. Now it's a first round pick. So that happens. I mean, guys move up like that. Um, and again, a lot of people are worried about, well, we don't have, we need playmakers and so on and so forth. Look how many receivers have dropped already. I mean, people are saying all these guys are going to be gone. There's going to be guys there in the second round for them to take too, who are going to be at this point in the same category as the guys, as the receivers and tight ends that are there right now. To me, in my opinion, I don't see if you can get, say, Dante Moncrief in the second round. I see no difference between him. And what you get with him and what you get from Marquise Lee. Yes. What if I told you the NFL draft has more than one round?
Wait, what? Since when?
I know it's weird, but
Can we get an official ruling on that? Is that true? I I don't hate this pick. I really don't. I think that the Dolphins had a need. They had a first round grade on him. It's it's what they it's what they needed to do if they want to keep Ryan Tannehill upright. Um, we all knew that a, a first round offensive lineman was likely to come. I mean, it's what we should have all expected, and it's what the team needs. They don't need a first round running back. They don't need a first round wide receiver. They could have used a first round tight end. They could have used a first round linebacker, but the guys were gone. So I think that in the end, a first round offensive lineman was what they were going for. He's a guy that they liked. He's a guy that they had on their board and with a first round grade. So I know that there's a lot of Dolphins fans that are going to be upset by it because it's not the flashy name and they're going to immediately, oh, we reached, we panicked, we did all that kind of stuff. And it kind of goes back to, let's jump back to the post I did this morning of things Dolphins fans will say after the pick. Because I guarantee you, somewhere people are saying those things right now. They took Brandon Cooks? Okay. Sorry, I'm still working on other things. But I think that I don't have an issue with it. I mean,
no, it's a good pick.
It is. It's the bedrock that you have to lay. At some point, you have to build a foundation. You can't just keep adding rooms and appliances and fancy bells and whistles. At some point, you have to build a foundation. And the Dolphins clearly didn't have a foundation last year when Ryan Tannehill was on his back 58 times. So this is building that foundation. Did we see what the trade was for? I didn't see it.
First and third.
Okay. what's going to be interesting is how long does it take for fans to turn on Hickey?
Oh, they're already started.
Wow, as soon as the Dolphins pick, this thing just we get silent.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with the rest of the first round here. I wonder who Green Bay is going to take here. This is interesting. They've got a lot of needs. I could see them taking an offensive lineman, perhaps maybe a wide receiver. I don't know. I don't really know what their needs are. Honestly, I haven't kept up with them. I think they need a safety. I could see Clinton Diggs going.
It's I'm still working my way through everything that I'm doing, but I I'm okay with the pick. I know it's going to drive people crazy. I know they're going to hate it, but it's it's the pick that had to be made. Oh, God, guys, come on. We gave up a franchise record 58 sacks last year. We could have 9 wide receivers on the field every single play. But
Well,
if the quarterback is on his back, you can't get the ball to these playmakers that everybody seems to think we need.
yeah, and so that's the problem. A lot of these people are saying, well, Brian Hartline's not a playmaker, blah, blah, blah. I can guarantee you the ones that are saying Brian Hartline's not a playmaker
God.
not only don't watch tape, but can't evaluate tape properly. I've gone back and I've watched at least 5 games so far, 5 games from last season, and I watched nothing but Brian Hartline. And I can tell you with 100% fact, he gets open a lot. In fact, teams have to play off coverage on him so much because if they played man coverage, he would destroy them with the comeback routes. They have to play off coverage to guess for the comeback routes. And guess what? He still gets open. People don't like Hartline. They say he's not a playmaker. Well, guess what? He is.
I just
So, I mean,
look. I
it's
was
just
absolutely mocking to the Dolphins. Most of this time, I have had either Calvin Pryor or C.J. Mosley as my picks. Those are who I had. Keith had Marquise Lee for a while there. You had ASJ at some point, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So it's not like we have been sitting here going, it's offensive line, it's offensive line, it's offensive line. We've all had other positions on our boards, on our mock drafts. I think I've maybe mocked a lineman to the Dolphins once, and that was Taylor Lewan way back when he wasn't going to be somebody way up high.
And I mean that's the hard thing about mocks is especially when you do so many of them. It's hard to keep from. I mean, I read Walter Football's mock all the time, and for months upon months upon months, it was nothing but Zach Martin to the Dolphins. I mean, it was laziness. It was complete laziness. Just an easy pick to make. So finally, actually, this past week, he actually had Juwan James going to the Dolphins. But it's just hard to create mocks. You just have to pick players. I mean, I picked Ryan Shazier that one draft. We had C.J. Mosley. Keith put Marquise Lee, and people busted up on him for that. He sent a text about it saying he was mad about that because people were saying, "Oh, we don't need that. We need an offensive lineman." It's just the ones. A lot of people are not liking the pick, and they say it's a reach or whatever. But then again, we don't know what the Dolphins board looked like. Maybe they had him rated higher than other people. And I mean, so who knows what they're going to do. And here's another thing they're saying. People say, well, we could have got him later. Says who? I mean, I honestly don't think Juwan James makes it past Seattle at 32. If he gets picked by Seattle, it's a great pick because Seattle makes the pick. It's just how it is. People say, oh, well, when's the last time Seattle drafted a first round wide receiver? They traded him for one last year. So if I recall the past few drafts, they drafted James Carpenter in 2011. He's been a bust. They drafted Bruce Irvin, who did well as a rookie, struggled a little bit last year, 2012. They didn't have a first-round pick last year, so everybody said, well, Earl Thomas, but that wasn't even their first pick in 2010. Their first pick in 2010 was Russell Okung. So, you know, I didn't see Juwan James making it too far past out of the first round anyway. So they got him when they could get him. You just can't assume a guy's going to be there later. Hickey says James was the best player on his board, and honestly, he's going to say that. I mean, no GM's going to come out and say, well, we just had to take a guy. No, he's going to say that, and I agree. I believe they did have him high on their board.
And it was reported last week. So, I mean, granted, everything is smokescreen season, but at some point, something in those smokescreens is true. Hickey said that they had a couple trade calls, okay, but they didn't want to take it. Just because somebody called you to trade the pick, does not mean that you got a good offer. They could have called and said, we'll give you our 4th-round pick to move up. Is that the offer the Dolphins wanted to make? No, apparently not. So we all overreact on this all the time, that we have to immediately assume that, one, the Dolphins don't know what they're doing. Does anybody have a track record on Dennis Hickey right now? Anybody? Can anybody tell me what he's ever done as a GM? Because I'm fairly certain you can't. We have it in here that the Dolphins always do this. The Dolphins always make choices like this. The Dolphins do this. The Dolphins do that. It's a new front office. How can you hold anything that the last one did? Everybody that wanted to scream up and down that Jeff Ireland had to be held for everything that Bill Parcells did, even when Bill Parcells himself came out and said those were my choices. Now you're holding what Jeff Ireland did against what Dennis Hickey is doing. How can you do that?
It's a logical fallacy, and I can't remember exactly what it's called. There's one it's called the gambler's fallacy. It basically says that the gambler's fallacy is if basically you think past events are going to affect the outcome of a current event. So basically they're saying, like, you rolled snake eyes for 10 straight times, you're bound to hit a winner the next time. And I think this is called the reverse. It's something like a reverse fallacy about that. It's basically the impact that everything that's happened in the past negatively is going to affect any positive thing in the future. So it's basically the same thing. Like, well, the Dolphins have had bad draft picks for however long. The next draft pick is going to be bad. The same things are going to happen before because it's what happened in the past. That's illogical.
Pete Prisco tweeted out that he gives this a B. The Dolphins had to get a tackle, and he's a player, and he's played at a high level in a good league, good pick. But we will all ignore that and just assume that the Dolphins don't know what they're doing. We're screaming up and down that, okay, last year the Dolphins made a bold move, jumped all the way up. Immediately people started saying we overpaid, even though we clearly didn't. Then we ridicule the pick now because Deion Jordan didn't play much. So now you get a starter in because Juwan James is going to start from day one somewhere on that offensive line, and we're going to ridicule it because we should have done something else. I don't mean to be down. Look, Dolphins fans, you're free to react any way you want, but it just seems like all we do is find a way to hate everything. So, I don't know. It seems like all we do is hate everything. And could the Dolphins have gotten him later? Maybe. Maybe they couldn't have. Maybe they felt somebody else liked him. Maybe he said it. Hey, I've also talked to these people, and the Dolphins thought they'll make that play. You don't know. I mean, you don't know.
Let's see if this is Johnny Manziel, because Cleveland's traded.
It's gotta be. They got their quarterback.
There it is. Brady Quinn all over again.
Who did the Packers take?
Clinton Dix.
Thank you. I've got one. I've got one. I'm done.
What's that?
Was it James earlier that said we needed the over under on how many I'm out, I'm done things?
Oh, I didn't say that.
I think it was James that said it, that we needed the over under on it. I have one in Twitter.
And another thing that I mentioned several weeks ago about Austin Safarian Jenkins. A lot of people saying, "Oh, trade back and get him. We can get him at 50." He may not be there either now. If people complain about the James pick, but it's possible that if Safarian Jenkins goes before that, people, if we had drafted him instead, I don't think people would be complaining. I just think people are upset over the offensive line pick, but I mean, it's whatever. There's other rounds. I think Miami's going to do well. Kind of wanted to trade down to get more picks, but that's just me. I like having more picks. Okay, so yeah, I need to be watching some MiamiDolphins.com to get their analysis on the pick. I think most of the guys on there were, and you know, a lot of people were talking on the thread about the guys on TV saying, "Oh, you need to get weapons for this guy and that guy." You know, those guys are saying that now. Not that long ago during the combine, there were several of them, including some of the same ones on here, saying, "If you want to have a successful offense in the NFL, you got to build a good offensive line." Some of the same people were saying that. So, yeah, I don't listen to any of these people. Like I said, Mike Mayock said that Eric Ebron was a better athlete than Vernon Davis. He lost me right there.
Look at all these people just trying to high five Johnny Manziel because he's walking by.
That's a good pick for them, though.
It is.
This could be Teddy Bridgewater right here. Who's at Kansas City is on the clock. And to be fair to all the people out there, I understand that it's not a great pick, or not. I don't say great pick. It's not a high profile pick that we took Juwan James. It's not a big deal, but I mean, had the pick been Cyrus Kwanjo, they would have been saying, "Oh well, Miami made the good pick here and picked that guy," you know, which I disagree with. And the guy that I wanted them to pick didn't get picked. That was Austin Seferian Jenkins. That's who I wanted them to pick. So, I mean, I'm not complaining about it. Wow, look at that. You see that bar that was just out there? All the 22nd pick. You think they'd learn by now. Oh, interesting. You know, it's kind of interesting that they would pick a pass rusher here, considering they have Tom Bahali and Justin Houston, but maybe they're not planning on re-signing Tom Bahali or something. Is he up for a contract?
It might be. One thing I'm already finding, there's not a lot of usable pictures of Juwan James. Man, waited all night for that, and now it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not a big fan of the. I'm not a big fan of the 3-night draft class. I always liked when it was just one day. Just settle in and go.
okay. The pole didn't attach. Wow. Wow, I don't know what it did, but it freaked out there on me. I did the poll, I did the picture, and I published the this latest post I just made, and apparently none of it actually worked. You know what? You know who's happy about this pick right now?
Who's that?
Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill's happy. He has an offensive line now.
Yeah.
I mean, with whatever happens, some combination of Jason Fox, Jawan James, Dallas Thomas, Shelley Smith.
And let me go into the Dallas Thomas thing. All of last year, they tried to peg him in as a tackle. I don't care what Omar said about they were cross-training him and all that crap. When he played 2 snaps all season. When he played 2 snaps, he was an offensive tackle. All throughout the preseason, he was offensive tackle. Dallas Thomas is a guard. He will be fine at right guard. I have no problem with him playing there. If John Jerry can make it as a right guard, Dallas Thomas can make it as a right guard. Bengals take Darqueze Dennard. Yeah, that's kind of an expected pick. I'm not sure what the status of Leon Hall is. I think he was injured. They've got Kirkpatrick, who's I don't know how well he's been playing. I know he was hurt a little bit. It's a good thing I'm not on Twitter. I think I'd probably be. And it's not so much that I understand. I don't want to tell people that don't like the pick that they're wrong for not liking the pick. I understand that. What I'm trying to say is you got to give the pick a chance. I mean, I understand people want to draft playmakers and all that other stuff. But if he wants to say maybe you could have got him in the second round, I understand that too. But at the same time, don't say that this is going to be the season's already shot because we took a right tackle. I mean, if Miami comes out and drafts Austin Seferian-Jenkins in the second round, there you go. To get Dante Moncrief in the second round, there you go. Although I think Moncrief could sneak into the first. I think he was rising up draft boards. And sorry, I was watching the pick there. And I forgot what I was going to say. So, I mean, we've got all kinds of choices for Miami to make. And, heck, for all we know, they're going to trade back up into the first round. I agree with what Armando said because I read something by him today. I agree with this. And I mentioned it earlier. Look at all of the picks. Look at all of the people that said, well, we get this guy and move him to right tackle. Of all the guys, of the top tackles that were there that played any right tackle, Jake Matthews was the only one that had experience there. Most of the time you move those guys to right tackle, they're going to struggle. He mentioned that. So that's why I think they like Juwan James, because they view him mainly as a right tackle. And you're getting a right tackle in that 19 range. It's not bad. But a lot of stuff that I've read about Juwan James says they think he can even be moved to left tackle at some point. So this is what Armando says about it. The past hour has been a bad one for the Miami Dolphins. And then on the clock at 19, the team picked Tennessee right tackle Juwan James. This one will feel troubling to some who think the Dolphins reach. Nope. It's hard to reach when you pick a first-day starter, and that's what this plug-and-play tackle will be. He is Miami's starting right tackle. And There you go.
You have the starting right tackle with James. You have the starting left tackle with Albert, and you have the starting center with Pouncey. So that leaves your two guard positions that, like you said, Thomas could fill, Shelley Smith, Sam Brenner, Nate Garner. There's some other people in there, I think. But
I wasn't that big of a deal on getting. I wasn't that big on getting a ton of offensive linemen in the draft. I think they'll get at least 3. A couple of late round guys, maybe a third or fourth round guard, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk. I'll say to CT. I know he and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but I'll agree with him on this. I'm not a big fan of guards in the first round. I don't consider that a high priority position. I just don't. I think guard is there are a ton of guards out there in free agency right now that we could sign that could start at right guard and be just fine. That's why I wasn't a big deal on Zach Martin, because I didn't view him as a tackle. I thought he was a guy that could move into guard. And unless you view him as a guy that's going to be an all-pro guard, I'm not a fan of that. But, I think that, Miami's building an offensive line. They're going to get some playmakers. I think they'll be fine. I'm just not I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. I need more coffee.
Yeah. What was I going to say? You said something. Oh, I agree with you. I could Xavier Suafilo, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
I could have understood if the Dolphins had traded back and then picked him up. I don't like the idea of a guard unless you are saying that he's a guard that you're going to move to center. But just a straight-up guard, I don't really like in the first round. If it's in the last probably 8 picks or so, I can understand it. Especially for somebody like, what's up?
I said, or.
Oh, I think you said, ooh. I was like, what did I miss? I don't see anything.
That is a big need on your team, and you don't have a lot of other needs.
Yeah.
In this case, tackle was a much bigger need, and that's a much higher position. Wow. Danian Tomlinson called that one the other day. I was actually in that my under the radar draft prospects. This guy was going to be the next one. He even kind of, I was going to say he was Brent Grimes 2.0. He even kind of has a Brent Grimes look about him. I watched some tape.
There was a I don't know if you saw this today in the grades post I just put up. Um, they posted this. I can't remember who said it, but it was on Twitter today, and it was a mock draft, and it was like number 1 Texans, the wrong guy. Number 2 Rams, somebody you won't want on your fantasy team. 3 Jaguars, a highly touted player who will disappoint. So on and so forth. You get to 19, and it's Dolphins, some boring ass offensive tackle. Yep, check. I mean, it is. It's a boring pick. I understand that. The problem is that's what the Dolphins need. The Dolphins needed a boring pick. And we all sat there and we've all sat here and looked for ways to make this pick not boring. And I did it too. Like I said, I was all about Mosley. I would have loved to have Mosley. I think that Ebron would have been a good pick. We all did that. But at the end of the day, it came back to what we were saying back in December when the 58th sack happened. The Dolphins have to fix the offensive line. And that's what they've done. New GM, he came in and went, you know what, we have to address the offensive line. Last year at this time, we were screaming that the Dolphins, although they had gotten Deion Jordan, they still had holes on the offensive line, and we all went, well, I guess they believe that Jonathan Martin can do it. And obviously Jonathan Martin couldn't do it. So here we are a year later now, fixing what we didn't do last year. So, yeah, I know that everybody wants these magical, we're going to somehow draft the 5th, 6th, 7th string wide receiver who's going to be the 5th, 6th, 7th 1,000-yard receiver on the team. Or we're going to draft the guy that gets 250 tackles and never lets a guy rush for more than a yard and a half. I know we all want that. I'm right there with you. I'm a Dolphins fan just like everybody else, and I want this team to succeed. If you don't know that through everything I've done on this site by now, you either are just brand new to the site, and in that case, absolutely 100% welcome, or 2, you're just not reading what I'm putting on there. Because I absolutely 100% bleed. If you can't figure out from this behind me, the fact that I'm wearing a hat, a t-shirt, and a jersey right now, and that I wear them all the time, and my wife thinks that it's the only clothes I own outside of my uniform, I absolutely live and die with this team, just like everybody else on this site, and everybody that's watching this right now, and everybody that's complaining about the pick, and everybody that loves the pick. I'm right there with you. The thing is, we had to make this pick. We had to. I mean, could we have made it in the second round? Maybe we could have. Maybe we do. Maybe Joel Bitonio, however you pronounce his name, Bitonio, is the pick there. And we hate it even more because it's back-to-back picks. But you have to build the foundation at some point. You can't keep stacking parts of a house on a foundation that's broken.
And you know, in all the drafts that I mocked this year, like I think I was a part of 2, I did not draft a right tackle or any offensive lineman that I can recall to Miami in the first round. I always picked. I think I tried to pick other players, and part of that was just because it was just boring to always pick offensive linemen. But I mean, I think part of it was just people expect. They say, oh, let's say we had drafted Marquise Lee, all right, and I like Marquise Lee. I think he's going to be a good player.
Remember how much people hated that pick when Keith did it a month and a half ago.
It drove him.
People
drove him. He was mad
off on him
because
it was a waste of a pick. It's not a need. Marquise Lee isn't a good player. All that kind of stuff.
Well, and probably what you're seeing, and this is the way it happens, because I read some stuff about how how people are on the internet, and it makes some sense about how basically like. It's kind of a group think thing. All the people that like stuff will go in one group, and all the people that dislike the same thing will go in another group, and they kind of separate. Probably what we're seeing is just a lot of the people that dislike the pick are stating it, and those who like the pick just or are happy with the offensive lineman aren't saying anything about it. But here's the thing about Marquise Lee. I mean, there are people who say, oh, well, he would replace Hartline. He would replace this guy. How do you know that? I mean, I don't think, and part of that is a lot of people just don't like Hartline, And I can understand why they don't. But here's the thing: I don't think right now Marquise Lee is better than Brian Hartline. I don't think he is as good. He's not as polished as a guy who's already been in the league and produced two back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. One is when he was the number one receiver, and he's still the number one target for Ryan Tannehill. And, if Miami goes just nothing but offensive and say defensive line in this draft, that will be kind of disappointing because they do have some needs. But I think they will do well getting a guy like one guy that I've seen mocked, and I know that they interviewed was Robert Herron, a receiver from University of Wyoming who has return ability. Miami likes drafting guys with the initials D and the last name Thomas, so I wouldn't be surprised if DeAnthony Thomas was a pick. I mean, there's still some good players left in this draft, and Miami can play at skill positions, and we'll be fine. I think it's just because we don't get to see it until tomorrow. Let's see who the Eagles pick.
Yes, that's a part of it too.
Wow, the Eagles just took Marcus Smith, and Oscar right now is loving that. That was a guy I've seen a lot of people were talking about him.
Wow.
Now, see, there's a lot of people who would probably say this is a reach, but now from what I've heard, this guy's a pretty good rusher.
He's somebody people will absolutely say is a reach. There are people in Bleeding Green Nation right now going, who? Absolutely.
This is one of these. If you're one of these guys that follow all the draft nicks on Twitter, this is one of the guys that they watch that nobody else knows about. But I've heard some good things about him, so it's not. I don't know where he was rated by a lot of people, but he probably fits their need. I don't know. I would think there's some other 3-4 rushers out there. One guy that I've read about, I want to say his name's. He's from Boise State, and I can't think of his name. I want to say his last name is Lawrence. He was a guy that I've seen a lot of people rated pretty highly. Coney Ely's out there. He might project more of as a 4-3 end, so maybe not. But
what did I just say? There's a bunch of Bleeding Green Nation people going, who? Bleeding Green Nation just tweeted, and the fans in attendance have no idea who that is.
I think the funniest one. Several years ago, I did a mock on Walter Football. Had a site you could do a mock on, so I did one, and I picked I picked one for the Raiders in like the 3rd round, and I picked Travis Goethel, and I said he's some guy that they'll pick because they always make some strange pick. Well, they picked him in the 7th round. I thought that was kind of funny. Probably the biggest one was what's his name? Something was it like Mike Mitchell or something from University of Ohio? Like no one had ever heard of this guy. Like I remember I was watching ESPN at the time because I didn't have NFL Network, and those guys were like, they were digging around for something to talk about because they had absolutely no clue who this guy was. Now, they had no video or tape or anything of him there to say. And this was 2nd round, so it could be a lot worse. And one thing we forget is Juwan James played in the SEC, so he faced some tough competition, including Jadeveon Clowney. But he's definitely going to get tested by fire against Cameron Wake in practice.
Yeah, he will, and that's a great thing. Absolutely a great thing. Dallas Thomas should also.
And yes, Dallas Thomas will.
Dallas Thomas show that shoulder's healthy.
He's going to be right guard. I have a feeling there. I think Shelley Smith is going to be your starting.
I think Shelley Smith moves to left, or not moves, but takes the left.
And the reason I'm going with that was because I'm going with something that Chris Kaufman tweeted about. He said if you watch him, he struggled with his left shoulder giving up interior pressure.
Yeah.
They said he played so much better at left guard with the way he blocks that he apparently favors that side or something. I don't know. Just a little bit of what he said was the interior pressure got to him when he played right guard. And they may still stick him at right guard. And Dallas Thomas, of course, he played on the left side at Tennessee.
Okay, what happens to Sam Brenner?
He'll be a backup.
You think he goes back to backup? You don't think he starts?
I don't think he starts simply because I think just his limitations size-wise. I mean, he's a smaller guy, And I think in terms of overall talent, I believe Dallas Thomas is better than him. Because remember, we're going off last year when they tried to play him at tackle, and I think finally they realized, like, look, this guy's not a tackle; he's a guard. Um, so there is no one on the live thread. Have they all moved over to another post?
I think they've pretty much after the pick they all disappeared.
There's still some around. Let's see. Is there a pick?
There's a bunch of people in the grades post right now too.
Oh, let me go ahead.
But there's almost 500 people on the site right now, but almost all of them are on the votes, the grade pick right now. I guess we all should have expected this, that no matter what the Dolphins did today, if they picked an offensive line, people were going to hate the pick.
And
even if they traded up and got Greg Robinson or Jake Matthews.
And if they had drafted a receiver or any other position like that, people that wanted offensive line said, "Oh, we're not going to get a good offensive lineman." So you can't please everybody. So I think I'll say I apologize. I was probably a little harsh on people, but I think they're, yeah, I agree with a lot of people on Twitter on this. I think Teddy Bridgewater just got run down.
Apparently, they're saying that Atlanta tried 4 times to trade up and to trade back into the first round, I guess.
Yeah.
And were never able to.
If I was a team in the later picks that had a deeper roster or were closer to the Super Bowl, I would do that, but I wouldn't if I was like a team like the Dolphins or Jets or somebody.
Jay Glazer's also reporting that the Vikings thought they had a deal complete with the Eagles, only to then see the Eagles trade with Cleveland.
Now, here, Dolphins fans, is an exact reason why you can't say wait on someone. Deone Buchanan was a safety that I liked. I thought, this is a guy they can get in the second or third round, just 27th overall to the Cardinals. You can never say, well, let's wait on a guy. If you have a guy that you like and you're there to pick him, I mean, that's the Bill Walsh philosophy. Pick the guy you want when you want him. I mean, as long as he's not, I mean, there's a lot of people who wouldn't say this guy's a top pick. But I like this Deone Buchanan. I was hoping to kind of pick him up as a guy we could look at in the third round, but he went in the first. So,
Jawan James tweeted out, "I'm so blessed." Oh, hold on. "I'm so blessed and appreciate the Dolphins so much for this opportunity. Ready to go to work with my new team, Fins Up."
All right, Carolina's on the clock. Let's see who they take. That's an interesting pick for the Cardinals, Deone Buchanan. It's kind of interesting there. Yeah, he was a guy that a lot of stuff I read about. He was real good coverage guy. And that's one of the reasons and I was arguing with some folks on the side about picking up Clinton Dix. It was a guy I thought they could have taken. I think they would rather go a later round safety pick simply because they have starters there. And obviously they're not seen as a big need. I know they signed Delmas, who sometimes has trouble staying healthy, but if they were just content with getting a guy back there, they could have just kept Chris Clemens.
Yeah.
And again, it's I will go back to what a lot of people were saying about Mosley. I would be worried about Alabama defensive backs. Those guys. I mean, now a lot of people said that, and Mark Barron has played well. He's on my Madden franchise. I'm playing with right now. They're formerly the Oakland Raiders. They're now the Los Angeles Aftershocks. Because I love moving my franchise like that. But even after I held a press conference and told them I wasn't going to move.
So you're Art Modell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Flour and everything. The that was the Colts. Sorry, that wasn't Modell.
I was thinking Modell taking the Browns out of Cleveland.
Oh, come on, Panthers. I don't like that pick.
You don't like Benjamin?
I've not read a lot of good stuff on him. I understand why they would get a guy like that because they do need a big target, but
They need any target at this point.
I would say this is obviously not a reach, but yeah, he's not Brandon Marshall. Come on, guys. This is something you got to talk about with big receivers. Now, he's got some speed there. And guess who's still available? Marquise Lee.
Yeah.
He won't make it past. He'll be drafted on the last 4 teams. All of my former Jaguars friends are now watching the Panthers picks. That's good stuff. I don't understand why the Phinsider does this. Like every so often, that little box over on the lower right hand corner that shows you what comments are up will show a comment from like
freaks out. Yeah. I don't know. It's ghost comments, and they get it fixed for a while, and then something in the system starts doing it again.
One thing about Brandon Marshall, I don't think people realize is number one, this is 2011. This was after the Monday night game where the Dolphins just looked awful. And up to the week after that, Pro Football Focus ran an article on Darrelle Revis and said up to that point, he had only given up 10 catches all season. All season. And I need to check that. Let me check my numbers to make sure I'm right on this, because I don't want to be wrong on it. But anyway, they were talking about Darrelle Revis, how good of a receiver he was, or how good of a corner he was. He'd only given up 10 catches up to that point. And come on, gosh, this computer's slow. Man, they're not going to let me do it. Are they going to let me go back to 2011? Yes, they are. All right, up to that point, he'd only given up 10 catches all season. He'd only given up 10 catches up to that point, 6 games into the season, and 5 games in the season. 6 of those 10 were Brandon Marshall. So in the 4 games previously, he'd given up 4 catches, 1 catch a game. Brandon Marshall got 6 in 1 game, including where Revis mugged him, throwing him to the ground, and ran one back for an interception.
Yep.
That, I don't think people realize just how good Brandon Marshall was. And I was one of the, yeah, he had some issues. I was very disappointed because when they traded him, because he was just a guy that he's so physical off the line of scrimmage. And I don't think people realize this with a lot of big receivers, they have speed. But what you don't see a lot of times with these guys is what you do see with a lot of these big guys is they have long stride speed. They build speed as they go. They're not explosive off the line of scrimmage. You expect these little short guys, to be explosive off the line of scrimmage and be quick. That was something you watch Brandon Marshall, watch him play, and watch how he, he's not a build-up speed guy. He explodes off the line of scrimmage, and he's so physical. He just, people can't dominate him. So when everybody tries to see these receivers and say, "Oh, I'm going to compare him to Brandon Marshall," I just want to say, just stop, because that guy is a freak. He doesn't have the speed like Calvin Johnson does, but at the same time, he's so explosive. Just I was disappointed when they got him. love that echo with the. You know, this is going on YouTube for all the world to see.
Man, this night is long.
It is. And it's only one round.
It is. Per Florida Sports Buzz, which is Barry Jackson, apparently the Dolphins are looking for a wide receiver who can compete with Armand Benz and Damian Williams for the 5th spot initially.
Yeah, that's not happening in the second round. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Which disappoints me because I really want Dante Moncrief. Come on, man, draft that guy. Let me go back to my Panthers fans here. One thing about Dante Moncrief that will scare a lot of people off is, number one, he never had a 1,000-yard season, although his quarterbacks were horrendous. And number two is he does have small hands, so he has drop issues. He was around the same as he was the highest receiver drop percentage. Surprisingly to me, was Marquise Lee, but he was injured, so it could have been a part of that.
I just saw the Patriots pick.
Don't tell me. Let me be disappointed on my own. Let's see what the Pats do. Only 2 picks left after this one.
It's
3 picks left, sorry.
It's
Need more coffee.
It's an interesting pick.
No, that's surprising to some. I have read a lot of people on Twitter who were high on him, and basically, he's not going to replace Will Ford. He's a 3 tech, obviously, or maybe could play a little 5 tech. I think he's a little short for that. But this is a guy that, he's got some injury issues, but he is explosive off the line of scrimmage, like they're showing right now. From a lot of stuff that I was reading about him was that he's very disruptive in the backfield. And again, this is one of these picks that, people say, oh, well, this is a guy you can get in the 2nd, 3rd round maybe, and he's gone in the 1st. So, you never know what other teams' draft boards are like. There's some people, and this is a guy, this is not a guy that, I don't know how well his knee history or knee surgery and repair is going. So this is a guy who may not even play against Miami in the 1st game. So, but he's going to be a good pick for them. And they needed help on the defensive line. I thought they would have gone defensive end, but it got quiet all of a sudden. Kevin has left, and I'm all by myself.
I'm here. I'm just trying to stuff my face at this moment.
Oh, I had half a pizza earlier.
That's what I'm working towards right now.
I was trying to think of food to eat for the night, and the wife was just like, let's pick up a pizza. It's like, Roger. Roger. You can tell I'm old because I'm referencing movies that were around when some of these people on the site weren't even born yet. Heck, I was only a couple years.
I got a question for you. Say we're in 6th round, 7th round, and he's still sitting on the board. Would you take a flyer on Brandon Thomas?
Oh, he won't be there in the 6th or 7th round. If Dominic
Even with his ACLs?
Easley can go in the 1st round, this guy can go in the 3rd or 4th round.
You think so?
I think so. He will go to one of these teams like San Francisco or Seattle or Denver or one of these teams that are already got a lot of depth everywhere else. And kind of like how they took Marcus Lattimore last year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are saying he was a 1st-round pick. He was another guy people said was not a 1st-round pick, but would have snuck into the 1st round.
Where did they pick him?
Who's that?
Where did they pick him?
3rd or 4th round. I think in the 4th round. But Brandon Thomas was a guy a lot of people said could sneak into the 1st round before the injury. I think he'll go earlier than that to a team that can stash him away. That's not going to be a team like Miami. If he's there in the 6th or 7th round, absolutely. But a team like Denver or even Seattle that does have some issues on the offensive line, they can say, you know what, we'll make do with so-and-so over here. We'll draft this guy. A lot of people, projected Thomas as a tackle. So, they could, if Seattle can't get it, say, a right tackle pretty early on, like Batonio or someone else like that, they might take a flyer on this guy, pick up a free agent, and then, let this guy sit for a year. I'm trying to see if, man, I hate that the Sun Sentinel's going behind the paywall.
Yep.
I've often thought if I ever met Omar, I would tell him, said, you know what, I always read the Sun Sentinel first before I read any of the other papers. But the reason why is because you guys are so prolific. You're always putting stuff out there. The other papers don't. So if they did, I probably wouldn't read you first. And he even said today on Twitter, he says, I don't like quarterbacks. I don't want to talk quarterbacks. I don't watch quarterbacks. Very good. When you actually start talking quarterbacks, don't end up paying any attention. Blaine Gabbert, I forgot about that.
Robbie is
follow him.
Is speculating, or he says speculation on my part, but it sounds like the Dolphins' next pick in round 2 could be a guard. I don't know if they need to.
I don't think so. To me, that's if it's who's there. I mean, if a guy like Batonio's there, oh, absolutely take him because he's a highly rated player. He's a guy that you could have possible 1st-round pick. So, yeah, but I mean, if Xavier Su'a-Filo's still there, which he won't be, but if he is, I'd absolutely take him in the 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
That's a no-brainer there. It's not, again, not what fans want, but if they've already said that they're looking to, or what you speculated, they're looking for guys to replace the bottom end of the roster at wide receiver. And I said this to Keith today, and I think you might have been in on the text too. I'm wondering if Dorial Greenback will not enter the supplemental draft, or if he will go. Is he eligible to enter the supplemental draft, or he's not been out of high school long?
I don't know.
Because I'd
absolutely
throw a 2nd-round pick at him. Character issues like Josh Gordon, and I really wanted the Dolphins to get Josh Gordon a couple years ago, but they would have had to give up last year's 1st-round pick to do it. So, is he worth that? Absolutely, but you didn't know that at the time.
Sam Madison just started following me on Twitter.
I need to get more followers on Twitter. You people on
Hey, everybody. Now that nobody's watching the show, we have 19 viewers still on here. Follow him at I almost gave Keats.
And we have to
that would have been perfect. At the Earl 007. Follow him.
The Earl.
And follow me.
Jimmy Ward. See, I thought Jimmy Ward would have gone over Dion Buchanan. So that's an interesting pick because he's. They may have him listed as a nickel corner because they picked up Antoine Bethea as a safety. They drafted Eric Reed last year. So, I don't know.
He's a true free safety versus a fake free safety.
Well, yeah. But, hey, Eric Ebron is a better athlete than Vernon Davis. Man, that just blows my mind. I got to text my brother that because I want to see what he says. I know what he's going to say, but I just have to. Because my brother and I, well, he's like I said, he's getting married in 2 days, so his days of lifting weights are probably going to be more limited than they are now. But he's big into the weight training and things like that. So he kind of he was a big fan of Vernon Davis because he was uh, a very he was in a lot of bodybuilding magazines and stuff like that.
I just unfollowed Sam Madison. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry, Sam. I'm following you again. I hit the wrong button.
You didn't tell Sammy to. Actually, it was cool because the quarterback for the Appalachian State Mountaineers follows me on Twitter now, which is cool. And I wouldn't mind seeing the Dolphins pick him up as an undrafted free agent. His name's Jamal Laundry Jackson. He's about 6'3", got a cannon for an arm. A little bit on the. He needs to work on his accuracy a little bit. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's not a good runner. He's not like Armani Edwards was in terms of running with the ball, but he's a fairly decent runner. But got a big arm. And people were talking about Miami trading down, and Dennis Hickey did say.
Sorry, the Floridian debater just tweeted, "I'm still here. I'm stubborn." So he's one of our 18 remaining viewers, making it with us all the way through the first round.
Yeah, I agree with KIH004, who I believe used to be Martin. That was his handle. If the Texans get Clowney and Bridgewater, they've won this draft in my eyes. That is a distinct possibility.
Oh, wow.
That was unheard of a couple months ago. Although they probably won't do that, but I've heard, according to Walter Football, they're not going to go. They're going to wait until the third round, but that ain't going to happen either. No, I was saying something and I forgot. Oh well, I got sidetracked. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the trade down. I mean, maybe the Dolphins were just asking too much, and they I mean, we saw what it took for the Cardinals or the Cardinals to trade down, and all they got was a third. Maybe the Dolphins wanted more. And you got to think. I mean, if let's say the Dolphins said, "Well, our first, a third, and a sixth," and then the Cardinals call up and say, "Hey, we'll give you a first and a third." Of course, you're going to take the better deal. So it's one of those things that I wish we had insight into the draft room. Be a fly on the wall just to see exactly what goes on and what is said. That's the one thing about Dennis Hickey we don't know about yet because no trades have been made. But the Jeff Ireland always won deals on draft trades. In terms of getting the value picks, I mean, I agree with what some folks have said. I mean, a lot of folks said, well, in terms of trade value, he won the trade for Daniel Thomas, but it all comes back to the player. So really, he didn't win the trade for Daniel Thomas. But, like Deion Jordan, I mean, look at what happened with the RG3 trade. I mean, you trade when you trade draft picks, you trade to get a player. You don't, that draft trade chart, whatever has, gives you kind of an outline, but really you're saying, I think this player's worth X amount. I think they got a good deal for Deion Jordan, just giving up a second-round pick, which ended up being Menelik Watson. And looking at that draft, the only person I think we could have taken there, I mean, heck, probably would have been Jamar Taylor. But we got a few picks later, so.
The Broncos.
Yeah, that's a decent pick. I've got 6 notifications. What are they? I've not been on Twitter. Oh, I've got new followers. Awesome. I'm at 141 now. Who all follows me now? Who just signed up? Awesome sauce. Well, Floridian Debater, his last name is actually Laundry-Jackson. It was Jamal Jackson. He says that the Dolphins have a fetish for JJ, but it's actually Laundry Jackson now. I just remember watching during warm-ups one game when Armani was there, and Travaris Cadet, who is now the running back who is going to take over the Darren Sproles role in New Orleans, Travaris Cadet was the backup quarterback. And Laundry Jackson actually at that time was he redshirted. He only played the first couple games. But they were doing warm-ups, and Armani was left-handed. Cadet was left-handed. I was watching them throw. He Armani had a decent arm. Cadet's arm was kind of weak, and Jackson was just barreling those balls in there. It was just you could tell the difference in arm strength. But that's a first. You rarely ever see him when a guy gets picked, them showing the bad plays.
Yeah.
Oh, the Broncos just picked this guy. Watch him get beat by Brian Hartline 2.0. Because that's what when Jared Aberdarius during the combine, he ran I think it was his second 40 time, and they were saying, Mike Mack said, yeah, said he reminds me of a Brian Hartline who's become a pretty good receiver down there in Miami. It's like, oh my. Are we doing a broadcast tomorrow night?
I
will not be available.
Probably not. I'll let you know tomorrow, guys. I don't know if I have the energy or the ability to do one for tomorrow. Yeah, let me talk to some of the contributors. If you're not available, let me see who is. And if I
could be available. I probably wouldn't be available till about 9 o'clock. So probably I could be available for the third round.
Yeah. We'll see. I'll let you know. Yeah, I'll let you know. But I'll put it on Twitter, and if I am going to do it, I'll do a fan post on the front page also.
Oh, there's a trade.
I just don't know. Oh, trade.
Trade.
Oh, somebody must be trying to jump up and get a quarterback.
Somebody wants Bridgewater.
Yep.
Let's see who it is. Minnesota. Here we go. Yep. This is Bridgewater. That is a great pick for Minnesota. I wonder what they gave up for that.
And watch them pick Derek Carr.
That's possible.
They're talking. They just met with Bridgewater. They love Bridgewater. Derek Carr. So they had to feel that the Vikings or the Texans would take a quarterback with the first pick next round.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They weren't taking a chance on that. And to get Bridgewater at 32 is a good pick.
If my hat is here tomorrow, I might prefer to do a pick or a show, just so I can show off the draft hat.
I'm glad I'm off work tomorrow because I had to go sit at my desk and look at the computer and read comments and stuff. I don't know.
I can change to this hat now. Right at the end of the show, I'll change hats. Amazing what I can suddenly realize is right behind my head, down behind the cushion of the couch.
That is awesome.
I can just pull out Dolphins hats from everywhere. Okay, so if we do a show tomorrow, I should change some of this stuff around just to mess with everybody.
And so let's recap a couple things. Well, let's first, before we recap, I guess we need to wait till the picks in. For all we know, this is pass rusher.
2014 second round and fourth round.
So let's look at who's available in the second round right now. Marquise Lee is still available. Coney Ely is still available. I'm trying to think. Let me look at.
We'll have a best available immediately.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's what I'm looking for. Marquise Lee's there. Who would have thought that guy would have fallen into the second round? Majority of the top tight ends are there.
Oh, since I'm thinking about it as we're getting here to the final pick. Oh, wow. Earthquake, as I kicked the computer. I'll post it back up on the cover, but SB Nation will be having a post-draft live show with, I think it's with Dan Kadar and...
Here we go. Let's see who this is.
Or not, I think it's Rubenstein, sorry. Yeah, Matt Uffer, Dan Rubenstein, right after this.
Yep. Teddy Bridgewater to the Vikings at 32.
Still a first-round pick.
Still a first-round pick. And I agree with what a lot of people on Twitter have said. You know, I think that this guy has been run down a lot in the draft process. A lot of people said, oh, you know, they've tried to run him down, all the stuff. Like, for example, I saw one tweet that said, Gil Brandt said, well, he has 9 and I think like a quarter-inch hands, and that's too small, blah, blah, blah. Jimmy Garoppolo had the same size hands. Says, oh, his hand size is fine. He'll do all right. I mean, it was basically, that wasn't the exact tweet, but it was basically kind of the same gist. It's like, oh, Bridgewater's hand's too small. Same guy with the same size hands. Oh, his hands are fine. I mean, it's stupid stuff.
There is, where is it?
Yeah, my brother disagrees with Mike Mayock on the Vernon Davis stuff. That blew my mind.
I can't find it now.
The Dolphins could have drafted a 7th-round punter in the first round, and it would not have blown my mind as bad as what Mike Mayock said. Seriously. And I would not have minded if the Dolphins had drafted Ebron if he'd fallen to 19, but not a better athlete.
Okay, let me move this back up to right here. Okay, I'm going to unpin this, and I'll go ahead, and we're down to 6 viewers now, so everybody's bailing on us. But 5. But
4.
But hey, guys, for everybody that did make it through, the 4 that are still with us, everybody else throughout the show, thank you very much for watching. I know it was a long night. I know it's a long show. I know that it's not as produced and it's not as constantly discussing things as probably some of our other shows in the past or the podcast has been in the past. But it is what it is because of the nature of it, and we're trying to see what comes up, give ideas of what's going on. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. Thank you very much for taking part. Like I said, I'll let you know if we're going to do one tomorrow. We will have a live thread one way or the other. I just don't know if we'll do an actual show in the middle of it. But thanks, everybody, and everybody have a good night. Go Dolphins.
Good night, everyone.